And I'm back with more Persona 4 Golden. Wanted to continue my discussion on things. Last time we talked about the way that Persona was kind of developed and made. This time it's more about certain characters and a certain way that the last two games have proceeded. I'm going to be talking about what I would consider the Persona malaise.
Careful.
And there's Chie in her Kung Fu outfit. I'll probably put her back in her normal outfit, but...
Is down. Wind won't work, huh?
It's not going down.
Come on!
Dang it.
Wind's you.
There we go.
Two enemies down.
So, what I mean by the Persona malaise...
That's great, Senpai.
God, I'm really... What the fuck?
Wind's useless.
What I mean by the Persona malaise is this idea that, despite the progress that the game makes in getting somewhere,
Some thick skin.
there are times when the game goes nowhere fast. And it usually happens around this time of the game. It happened in Persona 4, and it happened in Persona... Fuck!
Persona.
And, what I mean by this is the dungeons work, mostly monthly. Persona 3 got away with it because they always had a ticking clock. They always said that we're going to do the thing at a certain time. So you always kind of knew when a thing was going to happen. You always kind of knew when you were supposed to do a thing. And that would usually be every month you'd fight a boss and then you keep going, and then they would throw around story bits in between all the, stuff. And I guess they have to kind of balance out how much time you have story-wise, how much time you have to do character-wise. Persona 3 never really felt like its story... Oh, okay, level 4. Okay, so I need to go there. It never felt like Persona 3 was being stuck and away from any point in the story.
Persona.
Because you always knew that in a month's time, they would have a main fight. So you better get ready for it, you better do it, you better get going. So they get going.
Some thick skin.
But around Persona 4, and specifically Persona 5, is this idea that you have to go into plot mode, right? You have to do a thing. You have to watch the TV. You have to do the plot stuff.
Defeated. Good job. Senpai, can you hear me? Wake up, Senpai.
So, really where that rears its head is the beginning of the game, where they establish things a lot. And again, a lot of people have said the games really die down because of having the early start being so character focused and very narrative driven. I don't have a problem with it, but I can understand it being an issue.
That's great, Senpai.
Where it's less fun is
So persistent.
around the September, October,
Senpai, that was so
November
cool.
months,
Someone else's turn.
where they're either introducing a new character or they're going through a dungeon, or specifically a post-dungeon, where you now have a month where it always seems... Fucking phone. It always seems like there's a month off. And I will give up this... Anyway, once we're done with this, there will be a 2-month stretch where there is no dungeon. So this is kind of your last dungeon for a long time.
Whoa, it's a dude.
Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it's frustrating. And that's because once this is done, your main party has been solidified. And we'll just give it away. Naoto joins your party. And is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. It's more that if you're a type of player that focuses in on the gameplay aspect, the JRPG, the fighting stuff, you're going to be left out in the cold for a little while because they had it where they didn't exactly plan out that month after. And until we get to that point, it's gonna be a little bit rough, and it's gonna be plot heavy, and it's just gonna be a thing. You know?
Yikes! Get in there, Yosuke-senpai!
And where I mean that comes into where Naoto exists, and where Haru exists in Persona 5, is because they both join the party at the same time. Naoto will escape it because of a thing that is endemic to her character. I keep thinking there's like a slowdown in this game for some reason. No, there's not. Wind boost. Okay. You know what? He's never gonna do damage, so fuck it. Yeah, there's no slowdown, but for some reason it feels like there is. I mean, that's automatic. It's weird. Anyway, Naoto gets away with it because he joined the group early on as a character. There's other reasons, obviously. But, by and large, Naoto was a fixture of the game since Kanji's dungeon. So, Naoto doesn't have the same, like, issue being an ingrained party member. It just comes to a head now in September. You know, but Naoto's been a character for so long, it's like, okay, I can buy them being a character and make sense. And I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run from this. This doesn't look like a fight I want. But yeah, Naoto's always been a character. So it makes sense that all of a sudden they're focusing on Naoto as a main character and a potential party member. It makes perfect sense. They've established, they gave you a little bit of a feeder, they gave you these little strings to tug on and say, are we interested? Is this a character we're going to focus on now?
Someone else's turn.
Well, yes, we are. It's just going to take a little extra time,
Don't lower your guard now.
but we're going to do it. So that Naoto, taking the lion's share of the story stuff to flesh out the...
Here's our chance.
to flesh out their character going forward, says, okay, we're going to flesh out that character now. We're going to flesh out Teddy more. We're going to flesh out Rise more. Most of the other characters have had months to themselves. But how does Naoto interact with all of them? Because most of what we know is it's been an antagonistic relationship. Kanji's been kind of, I like Naoto. What's going on here? This mysterious aura and all this crap. You know, what the fuck really is going on here?
Oh, that's not good.
Haru, it seemed to me like, wasn't a character that was as thought out as we would hope that she would be, and is regarded as the weakest character, and is, unfortunately, I like her, but it's mostly due to stuff outside of the main games, like Persona 5 dancing, or Persona 5 Strikers. A lot of the stuff that Haru gets in those later games fleshes her out more than the actual game does. But there's more of a frustration involved because Haru basically gets dumped out of nowhere. You know, it's more of a feeling like we saw once or twice, but the characters really didn't interact, and now all of a sudden, we're supposed to care about this character we don't really know. We haven't really interacted with at all. We saw her in a car once. We interacted with her on a vacation, but it wasn't a thing we did. You know.
I can't defeat it.
Someone else's turn.
So it became a thing where, okay, now we have to care about Haru, and I thought the story was okay for what it was. You know, I thought it was okay for what it was. It's been done to death, true. Even more so in Mitsuru's social link, it had turned into a main story arc, but I think it was okay. You know, but being just okay in a Persona game ends up being kind of flat. And then because Haru was one of the last main characters to get, who wasn't focused on so heavily in the game, like Kasumi gets so much stuff before she even joins the party near the end of the game. It's just like, okay, she's an integral part of the game now. Haru gets the short end of the stick, mostly because she's just there. And her story is dumped in there. Then you have the Ryuji and Morgana shit that's really stupid and just forced drama because Ryuji's fucking stupid.
It's a strong one. Don't
and
lower your guard.
It's just annoying, right? So that entire scheme, that entire set of stories just ends up becoming a waste of time. And it does a disservice to Haru as a character because she just doesn't fit any one mode. She's a good girl that does cool stuff, but she's devoted. You know, she doesn't have a personality that... She's like Yukiko, where I don't think Yukiko gets as much hate because Persona 4, by and large, doesn't get near as much, oh my god, waifu wars stuff. It does, but again, Persona 4 isn't as well known as 5, just by and large. But Yukiko has some weird character moments, like slapping people too hard, or other dumb, crazy stuff that she does that's a little endearing. I don't think Haru gets that. And it has nothing to do with her performances or anything like that. It's just a thing that ends up happening that does a disservice to the character eventually. Reflect. Oh, man.
That's great, Senpai. You really
So,
keep going.
when you deal with the fact that Haru gets all the stuff to herself
Senpai beats the
all
enemy
at
in
once
style.
in a storyline not many people ended up resonating with.
Just 2 left. Come on, this fight's not over.
It just ends up becoming a... It just ends up becoming a little bit of a waste of space rather than an intriguing character that becomes something special. And when you add in the fact that a lot of Persona 5 is kind of redoing things that Persona 4 did, we've had 3 games of here's a school vacation. Okay, we've been there before. And they didn't even do anything with the vacation. At least with 4. Let's see, fire boost. Okay. I don't want to get rid of anything. God damn it. I really don't want to get rid of anything here. But I need that fire boost. As much as I like Mudun, I can get it in other places. She's gonna learn fire boost. That's what she's gonna do. You know. It ends up feeling like they're just retreading even more ground that was already tread a long time ago in a weaker fashion, and that's why there is that sort of feel that Persona 5's story was incomplete. They had, like, the tsunami, fucked everything up, and then all that other stuff that happened.
Just what I'd expect, GA-senpai. Senpai, your offense has been lowered.
I don't care, I'm leaving. I don't want to get last resorted to death here. So you have the issue of Persona 5 story being incomplete and then written on the fly, and one of the main characters being practically just dumped. Because I think Hifumi was supposed to be a main character and then was dropped, and then Haru was drafted in, or maybe something around there. It just became a thing that didn't end up working out. You know.
It's a strong one. Don't lower your guard. 4 of them. You need to thin them out. Okay, I'll look for an opening.
So, and then Persona 5 had the same problem. Once you get done with Haru's dungeon, you're kind of focusing on Haru as a character to build up her story, but it's doing, oh, we're doing another festival, yay, okay, whatever. Persona 3 dodged the festival thing, but Persona 4 will do the festival. And it's got some cool ideas at play, but I don't think Persona 5 had an interesting way of doing the school festival thing. It was more of a plot thing. It was fine, but it was also a contrivance, I think, to get more plot. Uh-oh. Well, that did not work to my advantage.
3 of them. Don't give up now, okay?
Let's do this.
I'm lucky I didn't die. So when contrasting the Naoto versus Haru situation, because they're kind of in the same boat as to when they were added in,
Physical attacks won't...
it is a thing that exists. It's not right, I don't think, to compare one thing to another, but it's kind of inescapable in a way, because this character is in this spot of the story, and we're doing a thing that we did a time ago, and fuck.
Guys, GA-senpai's really hurt.
Man, I am not doing well against some of these enemies here. Not having kanji kind of hurts. So I'm gonna need a Zio character at some point. But I'm gonna make it through because I do not give a shit. I will make do. I always do. But yes, there is a malaise. Because I think every game suffers through this sometimes. There's too much of a game to not always have a great segment. Not everything about a game can be Kamoshida's Palace, right? Kamoshida's Palace in Persona 5 is like the best way to introduce like the game.
Don't lower your guard.
Because there's like so much going on
Now, okay?
that just works. And it's just a heightened sense of stuff going on. In this game, I think the higher end bit is yet to come. Fuck! But I do think this game has its moments. It's just a lot more
Great, Senpai. You really get me going.
comedic.
Go forth.
I think a lot of Persona 5's comedy is a bit more forced. It doesn't have the same charm to it because I don't think the characters themselves have the same charm. They do, but they don't, I think, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I
I
love
really
that.
hope Dominion has a Zeo skill. I think, well, he's Hama at least, but, yeah, okay, Zeo, good. I have 2 things I've been needing. Good. Research card. Okay, cool. That's what I needed. So I need to go back to B4. Alright, so I'm gonna climb back up. That's annoying, but... Because the trick with this dungeon is you gotta find a research card to 1, go back up, fight a boss to go back down through here, I think. That's kind of the idea. Yeah. So you gotta do the research card, fight a boss, and then come back here. It's not that bad, but it's annoying. But that's, to be fair, I think every game at some point will have a section that's just like, I was having fun, now I'm not. You know. And it's rare that a game is so good over and over and over that everything just ends up working and it's not even like a slowdown. I think an example I remember was Chrono Trigger. For all the love that Chrono Trigger gets, I think there's a segment in the game that really does a disservice to all the fun, and that's, I think, the future segment,
Physical attacks
because
won't
the
work.
future world doesn't exactly excite me.
It's a strong one. Don't
And then,
3 of them. Don't give up now, okay?
yeah, the future world into, I want to say, getting to Middle Ages again. I'd say prehistory's fine, but I still think the early prehistory kind of sucks. It's when you get to, like, Magus, and then Tyrannosaur, but specifically the Kingdom of Zeal is when it really hits home. The early bits are fine, if a little...
Whoa, that was awesome, Yosuke-senpai!
Alright, I think I kind of see what's going on here.
Just 2 left. Come on, this fight's not over. I am thou.
But to me, as thematic as, say, the full destroyed history and the Fallout and all that junk is, I don't find it all
Yukiko-senpai's
that
persona
interesting.
is sealed.
It's a dour-looking place. It's just kind of looking. It's drab. I get what it's trying to do, but as a, you know, and a lot of this has to do with replaying it.
Persistent.
You know, these are replays. I think in a first playthrough, you're just like, oh my god, this is amazing. You know, I'm trying to think what other game.
Yosuke-senpai's persona is sealed.
Final Fantasy VII, I'd say the first part of Disc 2, even though that's where all the interesting Cloud moments are, I don't resonate with as much as I used to. Fucking hell, dude!
That's amazing, Yukiko-senpai. Keep it up. You can forget
Oh,
about
this sucks.
Someone else's turn.
2 enemies left. Light will... Yukiko-senpai's persona is sealed. It got back up.
So, to be fair, this isn't a Persona-only problem.
That's
I don't
amazing,
think you could
Yukiko-senpai.
reasonably
Keep it up.
expect a game to always be on 100% of the time. Oh, there we go. Good. I found it. And another enemy! Fucking hell.
More on the enemy side. Keep it up. Physical attacks won't...
Alright, whatever. Fuck you. Dude, it sucks. Whatever,
Three
fuck
enemies
off.
left. You can win this. Go! Chie-senpai, quick, so
Ow.
physical attack.
Damn it. Ow!
Chie-senpai, quick, someone heal her.
Uh-oh. Okay, this is a problem.
Wow,
Fine game.
Scary when she's mad.
God. I was doing a thing, I'm trying to talk, and then you won't let me. Whatever. But yeah, getting back to Naoto and Haru, it stands to reason that, and this isn't the only reason, I do think a lot of Persona characters with a lot more oomph in their character, whether they're super positive or super negative, or they have a lot of story, and I mean a lot of story surrounding them, but they also have a character that I think people gravitate to. Like, Rise is a bubbly personality. There's no way around it.
Careful. This one's strong. Don't waste your time with 3 of them. Don't give up now, okay?
Like, Chie has the...
That's great, senpai. You really get me going.
Yeah, Chie has the, martial arts background, kicking the fucking ass, all that stuff. Kanji is a badass, despite
Come on, this fight's not
being
over.
a sensitive guy. All that sort of stuff kind of fits.
I am thou.
So everybody kind of has a thing. Well, that ain't working. Fuck.
This one's strong.
God damn.
That's some thick skin.
And I think Danganronpa also has this sort of problem too. It's like, if you don't make a character with an absolute thing to them, people just kind of like ignore them. I said before that I kind of like the people who are just normal on occasion, because in a land of crazies, I think the normal person does kind of stand out somehow.
Wind's useless.
Is that always the case? No. But it is a fun idea, nonetheless, that a normal person would be here in this terrible situation.
4 enemies. Let's.
And I don't think Haru does enough to justify being a well-rounded character, other than she's happy, she's a super fucking loaded, and she has some dancing skill, and some funny moments sometimes. So, it's not a one-to-one scenario. Every character is gonna be different, and every character has to be different to stand out. Here we go. So, it also stands to reason that I run into a fight. It also stands to reason that you have to have a character maybe from the beginning of the game that people respond to. But that's not always the case. I recall specifically Freya, Final Fantasy IX, had a shit ton of stuff. Like, her story arc was right at the beginning of the game. And then by the time her actual story ended, they didn't have anything else for her to do. She just stood there. She still exists in the game, and in Persona 5 actually goes through the same thing. You get through so much stuff with her that it ends up being kind of a disservice that her story arc and her social link is more about Shiho than Anne. So it's almost like, well, Shiho doesn't exist anymore, but Anne's doing everything because of Shiho, which is fine, but it doesn't leave Anne much to do as a character. She's not like the smarty pants of the group. Uh-oh. Leveled up. Nice. You know, she won't be the smart person of the group, so she doesn't have that going for her, so she's not belching out dialogue, you know. She doesn't do anything other than being the hot girl, which isn't just her. Like, that isn't just her. Like, I get it. She's trying to be something that she's not, but in the end, that's all she ends up becoming.
You need to thin him out.
You know? Because her effect on the story ends up being as limited as possible. And that's one of the drawbacks you find sometimes, is for every character who does end up being good, you know, and you can like what a character brings to the table. They don't always have to be the life of the party, as I said. But it helps. Or, say in Naoto's case, you have to have something that defines you, which we'll find out what that is in a minute. So they have an advantage as characters when they do that, as opposed to, I'm just a happy girl, I'm not doing much. You know, I think the difference between, say, a Kasumi and a Haru is that once Haru's thing is done, she doesn't do much. Kasumi, her story arc is practically the entirety of Persona 5 Royal, and they structured it as such. So there's always in the back of your head that there's something about her that's important. You know? I'm gonna probably need... I'm gonna use these. That might be enough. Maybe not, but I'll give it a shot. But yeah. Naoto and Haru were done differently because Naoto was given a little extra time to develop as a character. Even if it was very slight, they still kind of poked their head around what Naoto was doing in and out of the story, so you never kind of forgot. Haru ended up kind of like Freya did. Once her story arc is done, she ends up in the Anne situation where she's not strong enough of a character that I think the character needed there to be. So, and to be fair, not every character has to be the big deal.
One enemy to go. Keep it up.
Ow! Well, I already kind of know what your plan is. Well, gee, that worked.
It's a strong one. Don't
Last
lower your guard.
resort. Bad news.
Someone finish it off.
Good. Well, great.
Damn it! Who do they think they are?
They're a gigantic mech.
Persona!
Well, that was an idea I could have done a long time ago. Oh well. At least I did it for one guy.
There! I couldn't do it.
I mean, it's not that much extra damage, though. That's the thing.
Someone else's turn.
I am thou.
Well, at least I figured it out, so...
Someone finish it
Aha, here we go. Alright, well. Just wait a few turns. Yeah, just wait a few turns, he'll do last resort. You should die. Biggest problem is not dying. And here we go. Oh, okay. Whatever, game.
That went well.
Yeah, I suppose.
Level for me.
Yay. Ah, wasn't so bad. Yeah, I did it. I'll edit it out to be like 5 minutes, if that. Meteor card, that's what I need in B6. So, I will do the right thing. I'll cut the video here, and I'll off-screen everything. I'll get to B7, and I'll see you guys next time.